Daniel, and welcome to the Emunah Project. In our continuing series of videos on advice and encouragement, we're going to talk now about a subject that is of importance to converts and Baalei Tshuva, and also to some degree to Noahides. This is going to the synagogue for the first time, or for the first time in a very, very long time. Some Baalei Tshuva haven't been to synagogue since you were little kids. To converts, you may not have gone to synagogue at all or very much. And to Noahides who want to go and just to see what it's like on the other side, here are some tips, some guidance, and some advice. You're not going to find any of this in a book. This is just information that I've accumulated over the years. I've been there, and this is my own personal view. You know, just take it as that. My own personal observations, little tips that I've picked up that you might find handy. First of all, if you have the good fortune to live in a city, a large city with a large Jewish population, if you're in LA, Chicago, New York, Toronto, even places like I've never been there, Atlanta, places that have many synagogues. In New York and Toronto and Chicago, you've got a synagogue on every other corner. If you have the luxury of being in one of these large cities, you can engage in what we call shul hopping. Shul is a Yiddish word for synagogue. Whenever you hear somebody say shul, it means synagogue. You go shul hopping. Young married couples often do this if they have the ability to do so. They will go from congregation to congregation, from shul to shul, to find out what's a good fit for them. Is the congregation itself something that you like? Are these people with whom you identify with whom you get along? Is the rabbi someone that you like? Is he someone that could be a good spiritual guide? Does he give good sermons, good divrei Torah, good drushes? Is the age range right? Sometimes you'll go to a synagogue. It's a beautiful old building, but the congregation is getting elderly, and there are no young people. If you're a young person, you know, especially if you've got little kids, you're going to want something that's going to, you know, be more welcoming. Sometimes with older congregations, little kids who tend to be loud and tend to run up and down aisles, that may not be a good fit. So if you have the luxury, if you have the ability to do so, do so. Spend a Shabbos, go there, check it out, find out who's there. Obviously, the best way to be introduced to a synagogue is to have someone in that congregation or someone who's familiar with that shul take you, give you a little briefing beforehand, and take you, and then you try it out, see what you like. Is their method of praying? Is their method of davening in line with you? Is most of the not service, but most of the conversation, the service, is that in Hebrew? Are the instructions to the congregation when someone addresses the congregation, the rabbi, is that in English? Sometimes you'll go to a congregation and everything's hunky-dory, and the rabbi will give up to give a talk, and it's in Yiddish, or it's in Hebrew. If you're not fluent in Hebrew and Yiddish, that may be, an issue for you. What denomination? Is it Reform? Is it Conservative? Is it Orthodox? Is it Modern Orthodox? Is it Hasidish? Is it Litvish? Is it, find something that's good for you. If you're at an Orthodox shul, and there's a mechitza, a separation between the men and the women, respect the mechitza. If you are a couple who are used to being together, don't try and do an end run around the rules by sitting on opposite sides and whispering back and forth or peeking over the top. Respect the mechitza. Wherever you are, regardless of the congregation, Services are not a social gathering. Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not speak and do not hold conversations. Nothing drives me more insane than people at the back of the synagogue chatting away as if they're in the lobby somewhere, as somehow we magically can't hear them. Don't do that. And especially, do not speak during the Torah reading. If you need to say something quick, like, excuse me, what page are we on? Or what's the parsha this week? Something that, very quick. Obviously, do it, you whisper it, and then you're done. But it's not a social gathering. You're not there to chat up your friends. You can do that before, you can do that after. If you need to have a conversation, if something can wait, get up, go out, go to the lobby, go outside where no one can hear you, and then have the conversation then. But talking, big no-no. And if you see others, more established members of the congregation, chatting and talking and doing that, don't learn from their mistakes. That's not the way it is. No one likes it, and the people who are talking are being very disrespectful. So respect the mechitza and respect other congregants. Don't talk. Depending on the congregation, those of you who've had converts, for example, and Bnei Noach, those of you who've been raised in a Christian background, where you're in church, and church is generally very quiet and respectful, and things are done in a very strict order, you may find the synagogue a rather tumultuous and loud place. Synagogues can be loud. You will also notice that generally, there's more of a tolerance in the congregation for little children being little children. There's a limit to this. But you'll see children walking up and down the aisles, going back and forth, and asking questions loudly. There's a limit. But you'll find that most, not all, most synagogues are children-friendly. If the synagogue you're going to isn't, and you have a 5 and a 6 and a 7-year-old child who hasn't learned yet, you may want to find someplace different. But most places, especially Orthodox ones, it's a loud place, and they generally have a good tolerance for children. Depending on the synagogue, they may or may not initially be friendly to newcomers. This is not like, some sort of born-again church where people roll out the red carpet and they invite you to lunch and everything. You will find that newcomers, it's not a standoffish attitude, but it may take you a little while to break the ice. Some synagogues, thank God, are the opposite. The shtibels. A shtibel is it literally means like a room. Small, little, tiny, hole-in-the-wall congregations. My shtibel in Toronto, 20, 25 guys. This place is full. I think it used to be an old shoe store or something. People will welcome you. Hi, where are you from? Are you visiting? Are you moving here? Do you have a place to eat? Some congregations are a less that way. The Jewish people that's not a place for wallflowers. Just presume that no one is going to make the first move, that no one's going to come and introduce himself, that no one's going to come and say hi. Be a little chutzpahdik, introduce yourself. This is my first time here. I'm looking for a congregation. I figured I'd try this out. So-and-so told me it was a nice place. Introduce yourself. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. And chat up the people afterwards. Find out what's going on. See if anyone else is someone you know. If you're a total stranger, well then, you're starting from scratch, and that's sometimes the best way to do it. If you're in a smaller city, probably one of the only synagogues in town will be a Chabad congregation. This is good. because Chabad is all about outreach. So if you're a Baalei Tshuva, or if you are a convert going through the conversion process, the Chabadniks, the members of Chabad Lubavitch will be very, very open and very much into kiruv, into bringing you close to God. With Noahides, they'll be okay, but be ready for just about any reaction. If you're not Jewish and you're just coming to visit, that is a shul by shul proposition. They won't be hostile, but there's no real standard. Noahides are new. That's a relatively new concept. Synagogues and congregations, they're only now just starting to react and to get used to even the idea. They were happy just to see a Baalei Tshuva or a convert, someone who is not Jewish at all, who's coming in to learn and to appreciate. This is new ground for a lot of Jews. At any rate, we're going to have more videos with respect to first visits to synagogues. But basically, if you can get a recommendation from someone who knows you to a place that they feel you would fit, or even better, if they can bring you and introduce you, great. If not, bite the bullet, go in, smile, be nice, be friendly, be open, make the first move, and see if the place is for you. Again, if you have the luxury of going to a bunch of synagogues, great. If not, if that's the only game in town, make it work for you. Find someone in the congregation who will be your mentor, or someone you can associate with, someone that you can connect with, and Bezras Hashem, with God's help, things will go well with you. We're going to be doing more videos on this topic and related topics about introducing yourself and going to a new synagogue for the first, second, third time. Until then, on behalf of the Emunah Project, I'm Daniel, and thank you so much.